There's power outages in parts of the country is due to routine maintenance works.
Court orders EC to give PPP flag bearer opportunity to effect correction on nominations of GBC24 for News Hour. We are also live on Ghana Television. My name is Micheline Taka.
And my name is Emmanuel Amagashi, and we'll be on our hour of news this evening. In our first story, an Accra High Court has squashed the Electoral Commission's decision to disqualify the Progressive People's Party's presidential candidate from contesting the 2016 presidential elections. The presiding judge, Justice Eric Chebafo, ordered the Electoral Commission to give the flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party, PPP, Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndum, an opportunity to rectify the errors on his nomination forms.
According to Justice Chebafo, the EC only gave out nomination days, which were the 29th and 30th of October, and not nomination periods within which candidates could have been allowed to make amendments or their forms.
Article 23 is clear that administrative bodies and administrative officials are under a duty to live by the laws that set them up. And any person who is aggrieved by any such decision can come to court. The right is already given to them in the law itself, Article 23. It's so clear. And you'll find that the law set, dealing with elections, ACI 91, which is the Public Elections Regulations, and it provides clearly that when the documents are brought and you find any anomaly, give the person the opportunity to go and effect amendments and alterations. This was not done. So his rights, to be heard was not given to him. And again, you find that the EC did not live in accordance with the law setting it up and went contrary to Article 23. They cannot say that it's a law unto itself, because Article 46, which gives it the opportunity, grants it that right to be an independent body, even states that it is subject to the Constitution itself. You understand? So it is victory for democracy. I think people should take Article 23 of our Constitution very, very seriously, because there's a right given to everybody. You don't need to be a judge. This used to be the old position of the law, that Sasorara will go only for judicial and quasi-judicial activities. No way. Now, what the law is saying is that once you are satisfied that a decision has been taken which was not fair to you, a decision has been taken by an administrative person which was not in accordance with the law.
The presidential candidate of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndum, says the High Court ruling in favor of the party proves that democracy has gained firm foundation in the country. Reacting to the ruling in the case between the PPP and the EC, he said justice has been served, but what the country needs now is a strong-willed leader who can transform the lot of the country and its people. Dr. Ndum at the party's headquarters said the party did not stop campaigning when the EC disqualified it, but now the court ruling will spur the party on to campaign harder than ever ahead of the December 7th poll.
It's important that I make the point, as I have been making from the very beginning, that institutions of the state, people whom our taxpayers' money provide the support and their living, and for the money for them to run their affairs. It is important for those people who have been set up because the Constitution says they must be there, and who are there because Parliament has given them the procedures that they must use. It is important for those people to believe and understand that they are human beings. They are not there for their own purpose. They are there to carry out the dictates of the laws that set them up. And that when we talk about strong institutions are built by following the law, for respecting the rights of everybody, and making sure that they work for the people, not that the people work for them. And for also making sure, for women can offense him, so when you snap baby, asudi odawodu de hwebibido hwebino da oda di ahobrase edi yedwuma. You must be able to work with humility, but you don't lord it over people, and you don't trample on people's rights. So I am thankful, I'm happy, not just for the judgment today, but the words that the High Court judge used today. It's clear, it's very clear what is it that he has said and how good it is for our democracy. So this is all good for democracy. It's good for our human rights. It is good for the growth of political parties. I am confident that with this, the people will have more faith in our system.
Meanwhile, counsel for Dr. Papakwesi Indum, lawyer Ayikwe Otu, says the victory for the PPP is a victory for democracy.
We had, applied for certiorari to quash the decision of the EC on two main grounds of error apparent on the face of the record and breach of the rules of natural justice. The judge said that the decision they took was perverse and that they failed to give the candidate an opportunity, which is a duty imposed by them on law. In law, that in fact they have to give the person an opportunity, afford him an opportunity to make amendments and alterations. This was not done. They collected the forms on the 30th. All he had was that on the 10th of October, he had been disqualified.
Earlier, GBC24 spoke to a private legal practitioner, Mr. Abraham Amaleba, who described the ruling as a victory for the country's democracy.
This is a victory for democracy. No one political party can claim victory of this ruling, because even for the PPP, it is not a straightforward victory, because when you look at the ruling, it says that the EC should give them opportunity to correct their mistakes. It doesn't mean that they are automatically on the ballot. So my initial reaction was that yes, it is good that as a nation we are testing our laws and we are having our court making pronouncements on our laws. That will bring finality to some of these laws, so that moving forward, we will know what to do and what not to do.
Now, reacting to the ruling, APC's flag bearer, Mr. Hassan Ayariga, said the Electoral Commission could have avoided the court wrangling by allowing the political parties to make corrections in accordance with CI 91.
For me, I think that justice has been given, justice has been done. As a matter of fact, we all appealed to the EC and we told them, look, what you are doing is not the right thing. You don't open nomination for political parties to submit their nomination forms, and then you don't give them days for you to make corrections. Because if you give us 2 days to submit the forms, some will submit in the morning, early days of the first day. Others will submit late the next day. So if, for instance, I submit my late the next day, how then will you give me how am I going to get the opportunity to make those corrections? So it violates that same law, CI 91, which talks about giving the opportunity to make corrections when they find faults with the nomination forms. The CI 91 talks about giving the presidential candidates the opportunity to make their corrections, so that when they make those corrections, then you can allow them to continue. But if they refuse to make corrections, you then write the report, then telling the commission that we have invited the presidential candidate to make corrections, and he declined.
Away from the court's ruling, President John Mahama says his government will continue to work to uplift the image of Chebi through the provision of the requisite facilities in the town. Chebi is the hometown of the NPP presidential candidate On a campaign tour in the area, President John Mahama expressed optimism he could appreciate his votes in areas noted to be the opposition strongholds because of the performance of the NDC administration. Napoleon Atukito reports.
Chebi is a political hotbed. A good number of Ghanaian politicians hail from Chebi. Another conspicuous aspect of Chebi is the reverence accorded chieftaincy by citizens of Chebi. Chebi used to be one of the notable towns dotted along the Accra-Kumasi Highway until a new bypass placed the town far outside the busy highway. The governing party, which is the NDC led by President John Mahama, has placed Chebi on the map, trying to uplift the image of the historical town. The president expected a road being constructed under the Cocoa Rose Improvement Program. It is an initiative by government to open up the 6 cocoa growing regions of the country by tarring the roads with bitumen. The NDC campaign team intimates that Chebi town roads are penciled for rehabilitation. Chebi's water crisis is now a thing of the past, as the government has initiated a water project in the town that supplies Chebi and nearby towns. Chebi is a town in Ibuakwa South constituency, contended by the incumbent MPP MP, Mr. Atachia, who took over from Nana Akufo-Addo when he quit the seat to concentrate on his presidential aspirations. Atachia comes up against Mr. Urikwa Mufa of the NDC, who became the first MP for the constituency under the Fourth Republic at the time the MPP boycotted elections. How will it go this time around? Urikwa Mufa stood beside President John Mahama on the campaign platform at Chebi, and the two men campaigned like no other time to brighten the chances of the NDC in the constituency come the December elections.
Say a buying refi say when be the ha. I just say ye refi Chebi for cry. Enti edano me hu sano. And I'm say oh nyame mai to me na nyame mai emre pa. Ye be say sie kwan send ye sefata. Send ye sefata Chebi for. Enti na me Beshe se Chebi for place say and twaso a enso nipa doma mehu o hen menim say Chebi for say and twaso.
Whatever the case might be, the results to come from Chebi will be most engaging. Will NDC appreciate its votes in this area, and can it upset the incumbent MP? Time will tell. Napoleon Atukito reporting.
STL News are live on GBC24 and GTV. Moving on. In Sowem, Ebri and Ekrapime Kropong in the eastern region went gay when the NDC campaign train got there. Reports say President John Mahama had warm reception by the people. As our correspondent Napoleon Atukito reports, supporters of NDC and MPP chanted their party slogans in the euphoria without necessarily being aggressive. A woman in Insuem was found wearing an NPP hat over an NDC t-shirt.
The paraphernalia of all the two major parties were very visible in Insawo. However, other voices were drowned out by vociferous supporters of the NDC as the party campaigned in the town. Some traditional rulers openly endorsed the NDC flag bearer, saying he had brought unprecedented development to the area. President Mahama and his campaign team said government has brought development to all parts of the country, including in Sawom and Dojiri, saying a government alienated from the people may be failing in its duty. President Mahama indicated that victims of an explosion from a mine near Sawom will be compensated by the state.
Per capita income, yes, the disaster GDP, the disaster inflation, the show chrono, Nisu, Nayakamfo. The minister one is Ghana was what Pedano, Okaswa and Pedagana, Ghana for the
So your infrastructure, you are creating jobs. Your infrastructure, you are stimulating the economy. And I will share acquire yesi na 95% of contractors almost is acquino omi Ghana for. It is almost equino na omuyi kwino acquire yeyi. So omuyi kwino na abantu omoka. Sika na ekohi. Ebeka Ghana. Omo ditua cement worker. Omo ditua iron rods worker. Omo ditua tipa drivers car. Omo ditua bulldozer driver car. Omo ditua engineer worker.
President John Mahama then inspected construction work on the road between Insaum and Eburi. Students of Diaspora Senior High School were among those whom the president engaged. He promised them a school bus and meet other needs of the school through the GET fund. Same thing happened when the president got to Adontin Senior High School. He then moved to Eburi. He first paid a courtesy call on the chief of Eburi, Otobo Nana Jambrisi.
Gardens. What I children or children was any of it. Say, Nana will share, Mara will share. Who knew so? Not many ministers and I want to meet him. What may I walk that day? No, when you say, I make a warning to someone paying Buena, no, Caso Bay Bibia. No, Papa, and your mother, your ministers. This is what you say, baby, a baby. No, I wouldn't be chill. I sent Meno, a father sending a won't pay. What's a game, Shabba or Nisso? What do you show when you show? Men who the answer. Mrs. Man also
The president addressed the crowd at Eburi that had waited for long hours to meet him. He said the tourism and agricultural potential of Eburi will be supported by his government. He also cautioned the electorate against buying into lies being peddled by some politicians to catch votes. The president attracted crowds at the Kriapimi Kropon too. He said he had worked hard in his first term to meet the needs of parts of the country and that those left outstanding will be taken care of in due course. Having added to the infrastructural stock, he said the government will turn to livelihood empowerment without disregard for infrastructure. For NDC to achieve the agenda to split the votes or exceed its own expectations in the Eastern region in the December elections, the NDC ought to do well in Achim, Kweu and Kriapim areas of the region. Napoleon Atukito reporting.
The flag bearer of the NPP, Nana Akufo-Addo, has called on Vote Regional House of Chiefs and the Agbogbo of Asogli Togbi Apede to round up his 5-day campaign tour of the region. The president of the House of the Agbogbo of Asogli State, Togbi Apede, called for a fair electoral process to select the best candidate to lead the nation. Nanado's visit to the palace of the Agbogbo of Asogli State, Togbi Apede, and the Regional House of Chiefs preceded the last day of activities to round up his 5-day campaign tour of the region. It was to enable him to announce his presence to the Agbogbo of Asogli State, Togbi Apede, and to sell his message of hope to the people of the region. Briefing the House of Chiefs, Nanado said the current government has not been able to improve the living conditions of the citizenry, hence the urgent need for change. Restoring of collapsed jobs as well as creation of new jobs, reduction in interest rate and education in utility tariffs were points that ran through Nanado's address at a rally at Juapong in the North Town district
of the Volta region.
A country that works is a country that has a strong economy that can generate jobs for the young people of the country. A country that works is a country that gives opportunities to everybody. That works is a country that has a government that is accountable to the people of the country and looks after the money of the people of the country. All of this country giving a so-called account of his stewardship. He never told us how much money was spent on any of these projects he was talking about.
We regret to announce the sudden death of Mrs. Judith Brefo, a journalist and a barrister at law, which sadly occurred at the Tema General Hospital on 28th of October 2016. Judith Brefo worked with the GBC24 News as a journalist and editor, and then as a senior legal officer for the corporation for over 20 years. She was 49 years. She had her secondary education at the St. Monica's Girls Senior High School at Asante Mampong and the Apam Senior High School respectively. She attended the Ghana Institute of Journalism, the University of Ghana, the Ghana Law School and the University of Westminster in the UK. Until her untimely death, she was working as a barrister at the Ajabeng Akresi Chambers in Accra. She was survived by her husband Paul Brefo and her 2 children, her mother and siblings.
Maurice Ogbete, let's talk business on Friday. Now, the Ghana Grid Company, Gridco, says the power outages being witnessed in certain parts of the country is as a result of routine maintenance at some of its substations. The chief executive of Gridco, William Amuna, spoke to GBC24 at a Safety Week celebration in Tema.
Recent media reports suggest that the country is gradually returning to power crisis, which has been termed doomsday. Government has debunked the allegation, with the Electricity Company of Ghana saying the blackout being experienced are due to minor repair works on some substations in the country. At the sidelines of Gridco Safety Week celebration in Tema, the managing director of Gridco, Engineer William Amuna, told GBC24 that power supply is more than the demand.
I can assure you that we have more than enough generation. I mean, occasionally we have problems in the distribution network, but that doesn't mean that we don't have enough production, but we have more than enough production. We don't even run Akosombo 5 units. We normally run 3 and then 4 units. So if anybody tells we don't have enough power, that is not true at all. We have. For the importation, we import and we export. I mean, this is a normal practice, whether the United States imports power, France, virtually every country, there's nothing wrong with that.
High on the agenda at the Gridco Safety Week celebration was a need for the staff and management to maintain a high safety standard without compromising on quality service. Some staff who have performed their duty diligently were recognized and rewarded.
And still in business, a couple of weeks ago, the Cement Manufacturers Association alleged that Dangote, one of the cement importers from Nigeria, is having an edge over them as a result of unfair trade practices. Dangote, however, has responded to that allegation, saying it is false.
Some few weeks ago, the Cement Manufacturers Association, comprising Gassem and Diamond Cement, raised red flag over some trade practices they say is unfair to their business. According to the local manufacturers, these practices, ranging from tax subsidy, concessionary duty payment, among others, are favoring importers of cement and having a toll on their operations. They asked government to take steps to stop these practices. However, Dangote, one of the importers of bulk and bagged cement from Nigeria into the Ghanaian market, say they do not enjoy any 30% subsidy from the Nigerian government and there are no tax relief for the products.
As far back as 2011, the Tariff Advisory Board ruled on this claim. At that time, we were paying a 5% tax rate for our bulk import, which of course was the law which was what the law says. However, with this same accusation of unfair trade practices, our tax rate was increased by 100%. Also, we want to have it on record that we pay customs levies, VAT, and all taxes owed due for imports from Nigeria. The impression created is that because of the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, ETLS, we do not pay any penny on our imports. This is inaccurate. We also do not know of any 30% subsidy that they claim we enjoy from Nigeria.
According to the managing director of Dangote Cement Ghana, Mr. To Nyigad, they will not do anything that will collapse the local industry because Dangote has also invested over $100 million in a cement manufacturing plant in Takrady, expected to come up by the end of 2017.
We want to assure Ghanaians that with our continuous presence in the market, prices of our product will remain affordable, such that those who want to put up houses could have a long-term plan, because they can expect stable prices of cement in the future.
Currently, according to Dangote, they have employed over 2,000 workers and are also contributing to the Ghanaian economy.
Let's go to Sunyani, where the Ghana Grains Council, in collaboration with its partners USAID and Advance, have organized a national forum for maize, rice, and soya bean farmers in the Bunafo regional capital. The forum was to promote dialogue and business partnerships among actors in agribusiness. The Ghana Grains Council Day Forum was held under the theme, Profiting Together. The event brought together hundreds of participants made up of farmers, processors, buyers, transporters, equipment dealers, warehouse operators, and financial institutions. The event was also to enable agricultural value chain actors in the northern and southern sectors to come together to deepen the growing interest in doing business. The Advance Chief of Party, Emmanuel Domon, disclosed that in 2005, Advance was able to reach 53,000 smallholder farmers and produced over 182,000 metric tons of maize and soya beans while selling 135,000 of the produce. He pointed out that over 86,000 farmers have been reached and estimated to produce 290,000 metric tons of maize and sell 260,000 metric tons this year. The Deputy Mission Director of the USAID Ghana, Steve Hentrich, said the USAID works alongside the government of Ghana and its development partners to increase agricultural productivity and build opportunities for economic growth of the country. Awards were presented to some deserving actors who have played active roles in the improvement of agribusiness under the GCC project. Let's go to the interbank market, where the cedi depreciated 2 pesos against the pound sterling and saw some stability against the US dollar. On the international commodities market, light crude is trading at $49.49 per barrel, while cocoa is trading at $2,725 per ton on the market. An ounce of gold is also going for $1,266. Let's do insurance news brought to you by SIC Life. Insurance tonight, latest figures from the UK's Revenue and Customs show that a rising number of retirees are cashing in their pension posts, but the amount they typically withdraw has fallen, figures show. Savers can now cash in their pension pot from age 55. About 158,000 people accessed £1.54 billion sterling as against the initial figure in 2015 when people were taking out sums averaging £20,000 per year. The latest tax authority figures show typical withdrawals have fallen to about £10,000. And that was insurance news brought to you by SIC Life.
Now for some health news. Stakeholders of mental health are calling for an end to the stigmatization of people living with mental disorders. Leading the campaign, the Chief Executive of the Mental Health Authority, Dr. Akwesi Osei, said the enactment of the legislative instrument backing the Mental Health Act by Parliament can improve service delivery at mental facilities in the country.
The issue of stigma, suicide prevention, and clinical managerial research in mental health is a global health concern. The third mental health conference focused on dignity in mental health, psychological and mental health first aid for all. It sought to educate people on suicide prevention and other mental health disorders. Ghana, as a developing nation, has had its share of the challenges such as inadequate drugs, human resource base, infrastructure, and lack of legislation in the mental health delivery system. But, according to health experts, Ghana is on the verge of improving the sector due to the passage of the Mental Health Bill, which will help address some of the challenges in the sector. The Australian ambassador to Ghana, Andrew Barnes, says even countries that have made gains in mental health still have challenges with stigma and funding. The president of Royal Australian and New Zealand College of Psychiatrists, Professor Malcolm Hopwood, said societies must start reflecting on how best they can improve mental health issues, especially for the underprivileged.
One of the key elements of reducing stigma is actually having good data about how common mental health problems are. It seems a fairly self-evident thing, but in, for example, debating the degree of expenditure that should occur around mental health, unless we have accurate data to describe how mental health problems are and how disabling they are, we're clearly at a disadvantage.
The Chief Executive of Mental Health Authority, Dr. Akwesi Osei, urged all stakeholders, including the media, to help reduce stigma against mental patients in Ghana.
With the Act, we are advancing towards its implementation. But I must say that we are only just about 5% towards the implementation of the Act. For instance, a major component of the implementation of the Act is the passage of the airline legislative instrument. We don't have the airline, and it's the airline that will establish the mental health fund, the levy. So once we have the levy and we have the money coming into the fund, then we can be sure we will be able to buy the medicines and train the personnel.
Good evening, time for some updates from happenings in the world of sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa. We go to the legislature where Parliament has passed the sports bill into law after years of waiting. This will help establish the National Sports Commission to provide for the development, promotion, and management of amateur and professional sports, and also to enable the country operate its sports in conformity with international law practices. President John Mahama now has to assent to the law for it to come into force. That's notwithstanding, many sports pundits believe that the passing of the sports bill into law will not necessarily address the most critical sporting issues. The major challenge is how to get funding for sport and how to ensure that the country invests more in sports. The passage of the bill replaces DMC Decree 54 of 1976 regarding the various aspects of sports management, promotion, and development in Ghana and seeks to make it current for international practices. Ghana's Richard Comey has secured another world title shot as the International Boxing Federation has ordered an eliminator fight between him and Russia's Denis Shafikov. The bout will be staged in Russia. Comey last September in the United States of America failed to become Ghana's 8th world champion after he lost via disputed split decision to Robert Easter Jr. But Comey has been offered another opportunity to prove his worth after several ranked contenders turned down the chance to face the Russian, and his manager Michael Amubediako is confident the boxer can redeem himself. The winner of the contest will become the mandatory challenger to the IBF lightweight champion Robert Jr. The IBF held a purse bid, and the Warriors Boxing, who have interest in the Russian, secured the promotional rights with a bid of $61,000. Solland Events on behalf of Comey bidded for $45,300.
For the last year.
Manchester United's boss Jose Mourinho has been charged by the Football Association for claiming it will be difficult for referee Anthony Taylor to officiate their game with Liverpool. Valerie standing by for some news from the world of the art and entertainment.
Hello, good evening. Independent presidential candidate Jacob Osei-Yeboah says he reads the Bible and exercises a lot to de-stress as the campaign activities gather steam. Here are highlights of an earlier interview with the presidential hopeful.
Prefer reading Bible to de-stress, and then I have my own exercise, aerobic exercise that I do in my room, just to make sure that I keep fit. So these are the things that I normally use to distress, finding inspiration and then coming out there to give it out to people.
Jacob Osei-Yeboah, aka Joy, gave us his rendition of Sarkodie's choices.
We are in an election year, so choices, that word is good. Do you want to vote for Mahama? No. Do you want to vote for Akufo-Addo? No. Do you want to vote for Joy? Yes. Everybody has got choices.
He also touched on the infiltration of foreign movies and telenovelas flooding our television screens.
Movies. It means that our movie industry ought to grow up to a certain level to compete with them and give us a better movies. And that is, I'm not someone who shies away from competition. And we need to face them, and that is why I think that this should engender some keenness in our artists for them to grow themselves up to the level that they can feature and compete at the Hollywood level, and that is what I want to see, because I want to be very proud of our Ghanaian artists, and I know that most of them, they have the capabilities, the capacity to do that.
As for that
The chiefs and people of the Jomo traditional area in the Western region held a Durbar to round off their week-long annual Kundum festival. The celebration coincided with the Golden Jubilee of the paramount chief, Awulai Kweku Ekriso.
The chiefs and people of the Jomora traditional area belong to the large group of Nzimes of the Western region. The main economic activity of the people is farming. They are also blessed with mineral resources like gold, clay and silica. For centuries now, the people have worked hard to protect and preserve their rich cultural values, particularly through the celebration of the Kundum festival, which seeks to foster unity among them. The celebration affords the people the opportunity to give thanks to their ancestors for seeing them through the year peacefully and providing them with abundant food. The occasion is also used to map out strategies for the development of the area. This year's festival coincided with the 50th anniversary celebration of the reign of the paramount chief of the area, Awulai Kweku Ekriso, who is 90 years old. The paramount chief, who was installed in 1966,
has, through hard work and selflessness, united the people and brought development to the area. He was also instrumental in the creation of the name for the Evalue Jira Ajomoro constituency. In a welcome address, the spokesman for the paramount chief, Nana Nyameche, who is also the Adonting Hene of the area, appealed to all citizens of the area, including those abroad, and the Nzema East Municipal Assembly to contribute meaningfully towards the development of the area.
It's a period of thanksgiving. It's a period of reconciliation. It's a period of appreciation. So we all contribute to help us to achieve what is right, so that Almighty God will bless us all.
And this is where we take a bow on News Hour.
We come your way again at 10:30 with News Tonight. Bye bye and good evening.